Okay.
Grateful for CC time. I was working on some research on stuff.
So, today's Tech Tuesday is brought to you by Marty Sladen. Do you guys both know Marty? Marty teaches Spanish. I think she's a visitor. I don't think she's. I think she's a long-term visitor, basically.
She's a visitor, a block visitor, and then she's also a supervisor in the education department.
Yep, right, yep. So she came to one of the Canvas open hour sessions and showed me this, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. So here we are. It's just basically some expanded functionality in the calendar that I hadn't really paid attention to, so I thought I would show it to you all. Basically, let me actually start with her course, and I do have her permission to show her stuff to you guys. So in her calendar, right now I'm Marty. You can see there. In her calendar, what she does is she creates, as you can see, events. And if you look at one day, for example, you can see like this day, the 5th. At 9 a.m., they've got one kind of a thing going on, this lesson 6, vocabulary and something else, grammar. They've got an exam, and then at noon, there's some auto, like a self-evaluation, it looks like, which she canceled, and then another time for an exam. So what's nice about this is if you click on the event, if students click on the event, here it is, and they can click on this link, and it's going to take them right into basically the lesson in Canvas. So what she was telling me is the nice thing about doing this, and you can we'll look at this and what you can do with it. Let's see if I can find another one. So if you click on some of these, they've got the videos right there in that, So basically what she's done is made the calendar a one-stop shop for her students who may have missed class or who may have just been like, I know we talked about this on one particular day and I can't remember which day it was. So I was kind of like, wow, that's really actually pretty cool. And then I dug a little bit, and it's actually very simple too. It's just something that I had never noticed. When you go to create an event in Canvas, if you are creating an event, and you can now create an assignment and add it to the calendar here as well. But if you're creating an event, let's say this is going to be a poetry, discussion. And we're going to do it, I'll make this a different day so it's not in the past. And if you just go through and fill this out pretty carefully, that's really pretty much all she had done. But then the nice thing is, when you get into SAM, you can put in a location. So I can put in my office location, and here's where you would choose, obviously you guys are only teaching one course at a time, but you've got different calendars for different courses, so you would just choose the course that it goes to. So I'm going to say it goes with the demo course. If you click this more options button, it gives you the visual editor. So you can pop videos in there, images in there, URLs, links to all kinds of content. You could even actually just put in content this way too. You could link to a file. So if you wanted to assign readings this way, that would be an easy way to do it. If you have PDFs in your course, you could just pop in the link to that particular PDF, and that way if students go to the calendar, they can just click on the link and it'll take them right to the reading for that day. That might be another way to do it. I think there's all kinds of potential uses here once you realize, and maybe I'm just stupid that it took me a year to figure out that you could actually do this and embed, interactive content right into those events in the calendar. So like she was saying, the nice thing is once you've done that, and we can play around, I've got a lot of external tools, but likely all you guys will see is the YouTube button on the editor. So if I say, okay, well, I want you guys to watch this video on the Stourhead Gardens in Wiltshire, I can choose to embed it, and I can embed small so that it doesn't take up the entire thingamabobber. And then I can just say create event, and the event has been created successfully. And here it is. Here's my poetry discussion, and if I click on it, there's the video. So isn't that cool? Okay, I'm glad that you guys I'm glad you guys are impressed too, because I really had not thought about the potentials here. So I think that for teaching here at CC, this might be a useful thing to do. It might be, and there's 100 different things you could do with it. You could put all the readings on there, like I said, if you have just sort of additional material that you want them to review when they can, you could put it here. If you wanted to obviate the problems of them missing class, You could use this to, as Marty has done, create essentially a lesson plan where they can click on each hour and know exactly what's been done, where to go to find the content. I actually was thinking about this quite a bit when we had our snow day last week, because I thought, with all of that the students were freaking out on Yik Yak, man. They were like, do we have class? I don't know if we have class. Does anybody know if we have class in Western music? I don't know if we have class. I emailed my professor. I haven't heard from my professor. Does that mean that she's driving? Or does that mean that she's canceled? I don't know. So instead of doing that, you could just say, you know what, you guys, it's snowy. I'm going to stay at home by the fire with my cat. Everything that we need for today, we'll talk in the discussion on Canvas. You could do that and link to the discussion. Here's the PDF that we were going to be discussing, so take a look at it before you post. Here's a video to watch to give you a little bit more to think about. And so you don't quite lose that whole day in the way that you would if you canceled class because you valued your life and you live, further away from campus than you wanted to drive. So, lots of options, I think, for using that. And I think linking to that kind of interactive content in particular is a nice thing. Yep. Questions that you guys have? I went through that very quickly, so we can kind of just open it up. And I'm happy to play with it and show you more about it too.
Well, it seems, I think I might be most likely to use it kind of for flipping the classroom in terms of,
exactly.
especially with multimedia.
Right.
Resources.
Right.
I always resist, say, having the 8 mouse clicks to make each of their PDFs available on that day, because I figure, like,
yeah,
it's a lot of mouse clicks for me, and you can find it.
Yeah.
But for things like that, or if you had a specific order that you wanted them to view things in.
Right. Yeah.
Or do you think there are clever ways to embed links to, what if, let's say we're setting up something like that with a debate, and you had some pro clips and some con clips, and after each you wanted to link them to 2 separate discussions. Is there any way to embed links to discussions in there too?
If you go into more options with these events, and it's interesting because you can't get to this any other way. It looks like you're going into the course. Like the first few times I did this, I thought, wait, this has put me into a page or an assignment. That's not what I want. But it hasn't. If you look up there, it says new calendar event. So kind of just, I was like, what? Who knew? But over here, if you put in links to course navigation, and let's see, why is that not showing up?
How are you in calendar events?
Because I started in the calendar.
I know, I'm in the calendar, but I don't get in the calendar events.
If I click, just like in Outlook, like if you wanted to create an appointment in Outlook, all I did was double click on the day, and it opens that event for me.
Right.
And then
that other screen where you...
Right. And then if you click more options.
It was more options.
Yep. Yep. So now that I'm in, and the reason that it wasn't giving me this option before is because it was on my default calendar and there's no navigation with that. That's just like all of my stuff together. The one that is tied to my demo course, now if we go in there and I say, you know what, okay, you guys read, this PDF and then post to this discussion. Yeah. And then if I come down here in this insert content into the page and all these links down here, I can just expand the discussions and I can say, okay, I want you to just respond to the week 1 discussion. And then I can say, watch this video. And let's see, I can highlight that. Start back here. And I could go ahead and pop in that YouTube video there. Let's see, Towerhead. Hello, I hit enter. There we go. Embed small. Oops, I guess I replaced the text with that, but watch this video and then hello. Respond to the post on this discussion. I would do this better so that the video is not right in the middle of the text, and then you could put in another discussion and then create event. And so when they open the event in the calendar, then I can't even remember which one that is. Is it that one? Maybe not. I've been doing too many of this. Nope, that was a test. This one? Yep, here. Okay. So then they can click on this link. It'll take them to that week 1 discussion. And then if they go back to the calendar, which is hard to lose because it's always on that navigation bar, then they can watch the video and then go to the week 2 discussion, and it'll take them to that separate discussion. So yeah, you got a lot of options there, I think. And flipping the classroom, so to speak, is one of the ways, when I started here at CC and I thought CC has got such a rich face-to-face culture. How would I use Canvas if I were teaching at CC? And that's one of the ways I thought, the one thing that CC is always short on is time, right? There's never enough time to cover everything that you want to cover. So I would use Canvas to just put stuff that I can't take time to cover in class, but that I want them to see, and then we can talk about in class, or read and talk about in class, or whatever the case may be. So absolutely, I think, and then you can point them to other areas in the course that you want them to go interact, or whatever you want them to do next. Yep.
So do you have to create a calendar for each course?
No, it happens automatically when you create a course.
Okay.
So even if your course is a manually created one, so Sarah, I know you have that CC Ethnographers course, that's probably got its own calendar already. It's just whenever you click the Start a New Course button, or a new course is created for you in Banner and then comes through that way.
So I could see a bunch of calendars over there. Are those all courses that you have, or is it also showing you?
No, they're all my courses.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just have a lot of courses. It doesn't, but you can, there is a way to put this calendar into your Outlook calendar. I don't think you could do it the reverse way. But if you wanted your Canvas events to show on Outlook, and this is something that students could use as well, if they use Google Calendar, if they use Office 365, hopefully they could just click this calendar feed link. And then I always have to noodle around and click around a little bit, but basically you just copy and paste that link into the relevant spot in Outlook or Google Calendar, and hey presto, your Canvas events and stuff show up in your Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar. Yeah.
So, while we're talking about calendars, I have a question. I had a question at some point. I can't quite remember exactly what my problem was. With the way that Canvas inserts events and deadlines and things at the bottom of the syllabus.
Yes.
What is my problem with it?
I don't know if I actually have anything with due dates here. Let's see. Syllabus. Down here.
I guess I just didn't know
how it happens.
It's on your syllabus.
No, I know where it is. I didn't know how to manipulate. I don't remember what my problem was. It was in some course where I didn't like how it was displaying, or it wasn't displaying things I wanted it to. Or maybe it was that I have a lot of extra text in my syllabus and I wanted to put that below. I don't know what it was now.
Well, and this unfortunately is fixed in terms of position. The thing that thrilled me, honestly, when I started using Canvas, which is when I was teaching at DU full time, and what thrilled me, because I had been using just a really crummy LMS before that, was that I only had to do the dates in one place, and they showed up in like 3 other places, and I was like, hooray! Somebody asked a faculty member before they built this thing. So yeah, it's just whatever you scheduled as a due date. So it could be an assignment or a quiz or a discussion. If you've put a due date on any of those things, that's where it's gonna show up. Now the funky thing is, so it shows the date, and then it shows you what, and then it shows you the time that it's due. It is also nice that you can just click on the links, or students can click on the links there and it go right to that particular assignment. So that's helpful for them. But those things do also, and that's nice that they've added this tab, which I wish I could tell you when they added it. But now when you click, if you click on a date, like you want to schedule something, you can schedule an event, but you can also just build your assignments this way if you want to.
So that was going to be my question. You could actually
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it just depends on, how you've set it up. And the assignment builder here, the assignments, if you build them in Canvas, if you go to assignments in the navigation menu and you build an assignment and you schedule a due date, they're going to go to the calendar anyway and show up there if students look. But you could do it this way too. If you're totally overwhelmed by Canvas, or if you just want to schedule some assignments really quickly, you could do it this way and just, give it a title. This is your final paper, and you could schedule a due date here and say, it's due on Friday the 12th. And it goes to, you got to choose the course that it goes to. And you can put it into a group, which is great, and then you can publish it from here. And you do have the ability to do the more options. And if you click more options, it's just going to take you into that basic view of building an assignment that you're probably familiar with, so that you can, here are the details and requirements and all that good stuff. And then you could go ahead and set up how many points it's worth here and all that kind of thing. But it's nice in terms of workflow that they've added that ability for you to do it right there in the calendar. If you're working in the calendar, if you're Marty and you're used to working in the calendar, that's probably an easy way of going about it. Yep.
That also kind of seems like a nice way you could have a lesson plan in there.
Yep.
And then just not publish it as an assignment.
Right.
If it's an assignment, you just don't publish it.
Right. Yeah.
And that way the students never see it.
Yeah.
But if there is a snow day or you can't make it, you can
publish it.
And the students will see it and say, oh, I've got to do this today.
Right. And the other thing you could do with that, this general calendar that you have, so if I just clicked on this particular calendar, this is my general one. This is just for me personally to see. So if I just turn that one on and turn the others off here, which this is kind of fiddly. I kind of wish they just had an unselect all or select all kind of a deal. Because a lot of you will have many, 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 many courses showing. But if you just put things on your own calendar, you could certainly do that as well. So if you wanted to have lesson plans and say, okay, at 10 I want to be doing this, and at 11 I want to try this, and then at 11:30 we need to do this, I need to remember, you can just put that on your personal calendar and leave it there. And then if you go into, so if I say, here's my lesson, and we're going to do that from 9 a.m. Oh, you silly thing. To 10 a.m. and I say submit, and now I've got that on there. But if I click back into it, say it's a snow day, and I edit it, ooh, it doesn't give me that option. Son of a... Yeah, it won't let you. Then I was hoping that you could put it on your personal calendar and then change it to like one of your course calendars, but it won't let you do that. So, but the thing that you could do is just copy and paste what you had into the, course calendar. Yes.
Also like a neat way to do an exit ticket kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could, in theory, just have it on the calendar to link to a quiz.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the students are leaving class, when they get to wherever they're having
right.
lunch, they could take the quiz,
yep.
even just on their mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And submit that, and then you know what they thought about the class and what they didn't get.
Right.
So you know what to cover the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's all kinds of ways that you could, it's one of those things there, you just have to sit and think of scenarios and play with them and see what's possible, because there's all kinds of things you could do with it, really. Yeah. I think that would be a great thing to do, to link to a quiz in the course, or an ungraded survey, or even something in Poll Everywhere, or, one of those online survey tools. You could put in a link to one of those if you wanted to. All kinds of things that you could do.
Can you embed the calendar onto your syllabus, onto a page? No.
It won't let you do that. Because I think it's got this, because it's in the hard-coded, it follows you everywhere no matter where you go. I think they're thinking, hey, it's easy enough to just, yeah, let's see. Now that I say that. I just want to see whether or not it lets you choose a, yeah, so if you go to course navigation, I think I looked at this once. Yeah, it gives you everything except the calendar, because the calendar is up there. So. Any other questions or thoughts?
So if I use Scheduler,
Mhm.
which I haven't used before,
Mm-hmm.
can that also sort of show up on the
It will.
calendar for? And so does it show up for students that
Yeah.
now here's these blocks that you can sign
Mhm.
up for?
Yeah, and I haven't actually. This is always the tricky part, and I, for the most part, have made it not so tricky. But seeing exactly what the students see sometimes is really difficult. So, I've seen most of what they see. The one thing that I haven't seen is how they get notifications when like an appointment group is created. Because that's kind of like Sign Up Genius. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sign Up Genius, but basically you just say, I'm going to meet with students from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. and I want each session to be 20 minutes now. Go make those slots available. And it will. And it's a little disconcerting because once you make it, you might look at your calendar and you'll think there's nothing there. And there won't
So it
be.
doesn't show up on my calendar.
It will as soon as somebody signs up for something.
Okay, but I still have to manually, like in my own Outlook calendar, block out that I have. In other words, it's not going to show up as like a grayed out space
Saying that,
you've
yeah,
offered
yeah,
people these
right,
spaces, so you
right.
better be.
Right. Well, and I don't know what that would look like.
That's a great way to get in trouble.
If you have done the calendar feed thing and put the Canvas calendar into your own Outlook calendar, I don't know what that looks like. With the appointment group specifically, I don't know how that would show up. In my experience, I've done this a couple of times for Peter Breslow, actually, which has been hysterically funny. The scheduler tool is a really great tool, but the stuff on the left side, like the location and the title, all that can be edited, but the nitty gritty details of like the dates and the times can't be edited. So if you change your mind about anything, or if you forget something, or if you mess something up, you got to delete the whole shebang and start over again. So last year when he was first here, he and I went back and forth, and we, between the two of us, messed it up and had to delete it like 3 times. And the students, I'm sure, were like, come on. But they were good sports about it, and that was what made me wonder how. I think what's happening is it's just in their notification settings. So when you set up an appointment group, I think bang, a notification goes out to them in their email right away saying there's an appointment group created and you can sign up for a time slot, because it was like instant. Like I published that appointment group and hey presto, there were like 2 students signed up within 5 minutes. So they get the notifications pretty quickly, and as soon as they get the notifications, then you start to see it on your calendar. So yeah, I think if you were wanting to be really careful and making sure that you didn't, schedule like a lunch or a faculty meeting or something like that, then you'd probably want to block out those times on your calendar before you went ahead and did the appointment group.
And so, based on what you just said, do you recommend Sign Up Genius instead of Scheduler?
No, I like Scheduler. I think it's nice for the students that it's all in one place and that they can come back in and look at it. And it does give you some nice options too to allow them to see. Like Peter and I were talking about it this year that he's back teaching this block, and one of the things we were saying was, do we want other students to see the names of students who'd signed up? And he said, yes, actually, that would be great because they're working in pairs. And so if one of them signs up and hasn't had a chance to tell or forgets to tell the other one, they can look and see, okay, my partner is signed up for this time, so I need to be there then.
And you said that happens by default, or that's an option we have to choose?
You can choose it. So it's not actually that difficult. Once you understand the logic of the scheduler, it's not too bad. It's just this side over here. So this, from this line over is where you need to be careful. And when it asks you for a time range, what it's asking you is the overall time range. Don't build them out individually yourselves, those slots. It will do that for you. The nice thing too is that you can do multiple days. You can say, okay, well, the 10th from 10 a.m. until 2 o'clock p.m. And I don't know why that works on one side and not on the other. This is driving me nuts. But then you can say, okay, that is certainly enough meeting with students after, So I'm going to come back on the 11th, and then I'll meet with them from 11 a.m. until, and you see what it does. And then you can say, I want it to be slots of 20 minutes, 15 minutes. As soon as you click go, it will break out all of those little slots for you. And this is where you can say, yes, limit time slots to 1 user, 2 user, 4 users, however you want to do it. Allow students to see. So it's just a checkbox that you have to tick.
I think. Oh, you can have multiple days. I think the reason I do my office hours on You Can Book Me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't remember. I did this so long ago. I don't remember why I chose that over Sign Up Genius. But I remember, I believe, that the difficulty with the block plan was that you'd always have to be relinking that block to another calendar that would be office hours across the whole semester. And I think that this didn't do as well with Arrange. Like on You Can Book Me, I just set it up as every Monday and Thursday.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And this didn't do. I mean, I was looking for a way to automize it. That's what
Right.
it's all about,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And it's worked really well for me. And I don't know how, but it does feed to my calendar on my phone. Like it tells me exactly what student it is, even though it doesn't show that to them.
And it's a good point. This kind of thing is good for like a one-off sort of a thing. If you have like a standing appointment that goes on for a semester or for 5 weeks or whatever the case may be, there's not an option to like repeat this once a week every, the options that you would get in any other calendar like Google Calendar or Outlook aren't here for that. I know. It is weird. Yeah.
Session,
yep.
Right? Because I was so excited to bring it home and just do it.
Well, yeah.
But
they are working on, I can't promise that this is for the scheduler, but they had actually built a tool, because this is the other place I get these requests, is in the events, the calendar events. There's right now not a way to say that an event lasts for a whole week, let's say. Right. Right. And they had built a tool. It was in their beta release notes saying that, we've got this tool now. You can schedule multiple days at once rather than going in on Tuesday, making the event, going in on Wednesday, making the event. And something was wrong with it and they had to back it out. So I don't know when it's going to come back. It wasn't that long ago. It was I feel like it was before the winter break. So a few months ago. But there was something wrong with it, some kind of bug, and so they backed it out, which makes me hope that they'll bring it back. Now, it would be great when they bring it back if they added that to the scheduler so that you could say, this happens every Monday, or this happens every Thursday, or something like that. I can't promise that they will, but...
Well, and a lot of the time, if it's just office hours, you certainly want people in your... Like, you could say, everyone in this block needs to come see me at least twice during office hours, but then not have that be exclusive.
Right.
And I think there were issues too with joining the calendar, a calendar that was longer term to a block calendar. I don't remember what they were now.
I don't know either. I'd have to play with that because I haven't honestly used the calendar that much myself. I've always just felt like, my students, I pointed out to them and I say, hey, all the assignments will show up here. And look, you can look at them by week or by month or by agenda. Hey, but that's pretty much all I've done with it so far. So I'd have to play with it a little bit. But, the other thing that I feel like I should mention is that Canvas has a really nice conference once a year. It's huge. It's thousands of people, actually. And they have it in Park City, Utah in June, which is not a horrible place to be. And Matt and I have been talking about whether or not the dean's office might be willing to send some CC faculty to that conference just to go listen, go complain, they have sessions that are just sort of, here's the product roadmap, this is where we're going, what do you guys think? They have those sessions, so it might be nice to have some faculty from CC come and say, these are problems that we see and when are you going to fix that? And also just to go listen to some of the things that other faculty, because there's a lot of faculty who will come present at that conference, and you get lots of ideas about what's possible and what's not possible. So you can always find it. It's called Instructurecon. And they last year had Olivia Newton-John there. And it was at a resort right up on the side of the mountain in Park City. And one of the first things I did was take a gondola ride up the mountain. It was really nice. So not a horrible place to be. I know everybody's busy, and especially in the summer doing research. But if you're interested, hit me up, send me an email, and I'll send you the information.
So if I have calendar things set up from one block and I teach the same course in the later year, can you take a 3.5 week period and plop it onto different dates?
Depends on what you've done. If you've taken, so let's say you're teaching anthropology of food, which I know you don't teach, but popped into my head.
Mario hadn't gotten it.
Mario's in Peru, I think. He is in Peru. Yeah. If you had taught that, let's say in 2014, and then you wanted to teach it again in 2015, and 2016, you copied the content into the new course. So you just went into the 2016 course and copied the 2014 stuff. You can set it so that it will adjust the due dates. And in that case, it'll take anything that has a due date, like a quiz or an assignment or a discussion, and it will recalculate based on the start and stop dates of the term. It will. Now, I am not a huge fan of that tool. It's hit or miss. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works for half the quarter at DU, and then the rest of the dates are so weird. I'm like, what? So I don't know what the difference is. It may be something in DU's calculations because of the quarter system. I'm not sure because I can't. I keep trying. I forget that I don't have access to the backside of their their Canvas instance, and then I'm like, oh, I can't look at that. But it should do that. They assure me that it should do that. So I encourage you to try it. And if it does not work correctly, to get a hold of me and or them, because you can always instant message them, call them, or send them an email and let them know this did not work. Yeah. But yes, theoretically that is possible to do.
So how would you do it? How do you import with a new and then assign a new date range?
If you just go into settings in the bottom left here, and I always start from the new course, the empty course. And come over to import content into this course.
Oh, I'm going to do this for block 6.
Yay! And then in content type, choose copy a Canvas course. And this will be easier for you guys. For me, it doesn't come up with a list of my courses because I'm the admin. And so it's like, dude, you have access to every course. So if I just put in a course here, look, I could put in an elementary Italian or ethnomusicology or whatever I wanted to. Then, once you choose the course, and I'm not going to actually do this, you can choose down here all content, and then there's this option, adjust events and due dates. And so theoretically, it says events and due dates. Theoretically, it should take the events you've created for that course and the due dates and transfer them into 2016.
This could prevent me from meaningfully redesigning a course ever.
And then once you click import, you're off to the races, basically.
Can you, if you guys don't mind, could you do that again one time?
Yeah.
So, because I didn't have my course up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what you said.
So if you go to settings on the bottom left
Yep.
of your nav menu, and then go to import content into this course. And like I said, always start in the empty course, the new course. And then content type, you're going to copy a Canvas course. And then search for a course. Now you guys, they should come up with a list divided by term, which is super helpful. I'm so glad they finally did that. You can choose the course and then select either all content or specific content. And then check that box that says adjust events and due dates. And then click import.
I don't think I had this class on Canvas.
And then the date adjustment, you stick with shift line.
Yeah, so let me show you what it does. Let's see, IT. Let's take elementary Italian.
Nice. So it tells me
Yeah.
which dates to map to which other
Exactly. So the beginning date, and it should fill in the beginning date. Mine is wonky because this is a manually created course, but it should fill in a beginning and ending date, the dates of the term.
Yeah, it's kind of funky. Like this one, it filled in a Sunday at the beginning of the term for some reason.
Well, and it may be that in Banner they have is it showing block dates or the whole semester for you?
Block dates.
Okay, that's good.
So, but I'm gonna just check whatever.
It may be that they are choosing that Sunday because that's when they want the block courses to be able to open, like Sunday at midnight, basically, for the students. So that may be why. So you can change it though. I don't think you're gonna break anything by changing it to Monday.
So should I change? It seems like I should.
But if your other course started on Sunday, maybe you still want
Right. So it seems like I should change the other
Mhm.
to be the exact
Right.
time. Okay. Yeah.
When you start on Sunday for some reason, right?
Yep.
Right.
But like Dana just said, if your previous course started on a Sunday too, then it might match up. It might match up. And I can't honestly.
It's just the right range already.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it's nice. And when I talked to Tara at Canvas about this and said, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't, she acted really surprised. And I couldn't tell whether that was genuine surprise, or if that was the surprise, like, when I adopted a kitty from the Humane Society who was pregnant and called them and they were so surprised, and I was like, no, I don't think you actually were that surprised. I think you knew. So I can't tell whether she really was surprised or not. Things are difficult with the block plan. I think that maybe, I'm sure Canvas, they set it up to deal primarily with schools on semesters. And it might be that that's, that's why she was surprised.
What's that substitution button for?
I don't know. I've never actually played with that. Oh, move from Sunday to. So I guess if you wanted to, that's pretty slick. If all your due dates were on a Sunday and you said, you know what, that didn't work that well. I want it to be Wednesday this block. You could swap all the Sundays for Wednesdays.
That makes sense. So if your like on a semester system, if your course moved from Monday to Wednesday to Tuesday, Thursday.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Well, and this I think is probably more critical for schools on a semester plan, because if I had to go through, what is it, like 18 weeks or 20 weeks worth of assignments and change the due dates manually, I think I'd be pretty crabby about it. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording because we're over. So I'll hang out for a little while. I don't have anything else going on. So if you guys have questions.